Hello, my name is Natalia Moon. I am a functional medicine health coach. I'm also Ukrainian, so if you hear an accent, you know why. I lived in the United States for the past 13 years. I'm married, I have a 7-year-old daughter, so I'm a mom. And I created this YouTube account so that I can show up more authentically, where I'm not limited on time as I am on other social media platforms, where I can simply share my journey, mostly my health journey, and what led me to being a functional medicine health coach, because I truly believe in the power of storytelling. I believe in the power of sharing our own experience, because I wouldn't be here myself if it wasn't for experiences, stories, and information that other people were willing to share on social media. And I'm not gonna lie, it is intimidating to be showing up and to be vulnerable and to be sharing information that is my personal journey. It is my life. But I do believe that there is value in doing so. You know, my belief is that social media is like fire. It can be a very useful tool that can bring people together. It can accomplish so many things, and we're so blessed in so many ways. But it is also something that can be harmful, that can burn your house or somebody else's house down. And I think what makes a difference is the intention, is how you want to utilize this tool and how you want to show up. And so my intention is to inspire you, to share useful information that hopefully you can apply in your own life, that can make a difference on your own health journey. So I wanted to dive in right in about what happened to me, what was my health journey. And honestly, it's not that remarkable, like you would expect some unexpected diagnosis of some condition, but I did not have that. I actually was never diagnosed with any, so to say, condition. In fact, on paper, everything was looking normal. And that was very frustrating for me, because everything was not normal in my life. I wasn't feeling normal. And the symptoms that I dealt with are perhaps the symptoms that many of us are dealing with. The biggest one will be fatigue, right? And so the fatigue that cramped into my life gradually, where you don't realize how debilitating it is until you actually start getting out of it, and everything kind of like the fog starts lifting. But later on, I realized that it was depriving me of the ability to live my life to the fullest. It was kind of like damping down my creativity, my love for life. It was affecting my relationships. And I know so many of us are affected by just feeling tired, low energy, experiencing this chronic fatigue. Other things were related to gut, so digestive issues. I did not know at a time that it was food sensitivities, but the symptoms that I've dealt with was like probably for a decade I've dealt with constipation when I was younger. And of course, when I was in my 20s, it was embarrassing to talk about it to your friends or to family. I remember I found courage to go see the doctor and address it, but the answer was like, well, everything looks fine. I don't think there is something going on. Just drink more water, eat more fiber, supplement with fiber, and that was it. But that did not resolve my constipation because I was already mindful about my nutrition. I've been already consuming plenty of fiber and plants and drinking water and exercising. So that was a very superficial recommendation that came from a health provider. And I thought that perhaps that was normal, perhaps that was just me, perhaps having only like a couple of bowel movements a week, that was normal for who I was. But really, I did not talk about that to anybody because there was kind of like a taboo subject, shame surrounding it. And other issues were later on just mood swings. A lot of mood swings, especially that came after I gave birth to my daughter. Just, PMS, where I would just become so irritable and, prone to anger. And with that also, my relationships were affected with my husband, with my daughter, and then also that guilt that comes from it because you don't feel like yourself and you think, why am I feeling this way? Why am I reacting that way? And so it's a combination of different things, and perhaps a lot of women especially could relate to that, especially after giving birth. And the last step that kind of like was the breaking point for me is that when my sleep started getting impacted and I started to experience this debilitating insomnia. So at first it would be just I would have hard time falling asleep, but then at sometimes it did not happen all the time, but I would not be able to fall asleep for the entire night. Even if I would be so tired, I would be wired, right? And so I wouldn't be able to fall asleep, and the next day I would be just emotionally and physically broken and not being able to function. And of course there were other more subtle, nuanced symptoms that were harder for me to pinpoint. I'm not going to get into those, but as you can tell, these are pretty, what some people might say, normal, because so many of us might be dealing with the symptoms. But the symptoms got worse over time because I think as humans we're very adaptable species. And we adapt to symptoms that we're experiencing, especially as a mom. You don't have days off. When you're taking care of your child, no matter how you feel, you will need to show up and take care of your child. And that was exactly what I did. Another thing also was that my immunity was compromised, because I would catch every cold and it would take longer time for me to get over it. So again, I would consider it's very common because I see a lot of people that are struggling with the same symptoms. And perhaps I wouldn't even start aggressively looking for answers if it wasn't for that insomnia, because I've already kind of accepted my fate, so to say, and I just thought that perhaps that was my genetics, perhaps that was my life. And the reason why that happened is not because I gave up on myself, but it was for some time that inability to find answers. It wasn't because I did not try. And let me tell you a story, because I did go to seek out help from health professionals, providers, And for example, on one occasion, I went to see a new provider in a town where we were living after I gave birth to my daughter. And I thought that perhaps it would be a good time to check my hormone levels, because things were just feeling way off after I gave birth to my daughter. Of course, if you might know, if you ever gone to a regular health provider from the, in the conventional medicine setting, nobody's going to check your hormones. It's very rare that somebody will start checking your hormone levels, which is very frustrating. Because for me, especially now, I'm a big advocate for women's health. But what happened is that in the 10 minutes conversation with this provider that did not know me, it was a new appointment, she was proposing to me to try antidepressants. Now, I am not against antidepressants. I believe that there is time and place. But even back then, where I was not in this functional medicine space, I had limited knowledge. But even back then, I knew myself enough where I knew that was not the solution for me. That wasn't what I needed. And I felt so unheard because I was asking about something else. There were not even regular lab tests done, and this provider was already proposing medication for me. And that's just one story. And from there, I actually then went to alternative doctors. I checked my hormones, and I did different things, and still I was in a way chasing my tail, and I wasn't able to find clear answers to why I was feeling the way I was feeling and why I was experiencing all these different symptoms. The problem also with conventional medicine setting is that there are not many doctors, I would say probably none, that would treat you as a whole person and see all symptoms as interconnected. Because if you have got symptoms, then you're sent to, let's say, gastroenterologist, and that's what I've done, right? So I would be sent to a specialist. They tested me for celiac, which came back negative, and that's it. There is no practitioner that looks and connects all the dots and looks for the underlying root cause. And so my inability to find answers to why I was feeling the way I was feeling in that setting was very discouraging. And so for a while there, for a few years, I gave up. And I thought that perhaps, that was my fate, that was my genes, and there was nothing to be done about it, and that I would just have to, smile on and move on and do my best with what I have. It wasn't until I started, again, through social media, hearing bits of information, hearing stories of other people, of other women dealing with similar issues and finding answers. And I just really was following this trail of breadcrumbs of information, a little bit here, a little bit there, books and podcasts that eventually led me to functional medicine. And once I started digging into it, it was shocking to me because I thought, why aren't we talking about this? I think this is important information. And truly, that whole mess of my health journey became my message. And that is ultimately why I'm doing what I'm doing right now and why I'm passionate about it, because it was personal. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't personal for me. I think I have a lot of other interests. I would have followed other paths in life, but somehow in all the twists and turns of life, I came here, and I'm hoping to make a difference. It's not just about me or about helping my individual clients. I have a bigger vision of better future for my daughter and for future generations. I do believe that our healthcare system needs to be reformed. I do believe that we are dealing currently with this epidemic of chronic diseases that we're just like using the bandage approach. We're not addressing them at the root. We're not asking why, and just keep going upstream to figure it out. And the big thing that I also believe is how we are going to make change and how we're going to accomplish the difference is that every and each of us, we have to become stewards and champions of our own health, because nobody is going to save us. Government with regulations is not going to save us. Doctor is not going to save us. Your family and loved ones, even they can't save you. Nobody but you can save you. As a health coach, I cannot save my clients. There will be, so to say, angels and people that will walk alongside you, that will help you. But ultimately, it's only up to you and me to save ourselves and to gain that health back. It can be very lonely and frustrating at times. And what I've learned is that this journey is definitely not linear. It's a twisted journey. This is what we often think what our health journey should look like. Linear journey, just, upward, straightforward. But that's often not the case. That was definitely not the case for me. This is what my health journey looked like. It still looks like, because life is unpredictable and it's full of events. You just don't know what is going to happen. You might have the best intentions to do the right thing, and then a major stress happens, or you will have mold move into the place that has mold, and you might have all these different setbacks, all these ups and downs and twists and turns, and it can be so frustrating to recognize your progress. But the reality is that you're still moving forward, that your efforts are not wasted. If you really think about it, you're still better probably now that you were before because of everything that you've done, all the effort that you put in. But that does not mean that you will now have a perfect health, and that was my case, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. I would say that 80% of people can truly get pretty close to 100% only through lifestyle and behavior changes, and things are more clear and straightforward for them. Like if they truly change their foundational things, nutrition and improve movement, and improve their sleep, stress management, and really focus on those things, they can really get so far, and can see tremendous results. And then there is another 20% of more complex situations where it's not just one thing. It's like a perfect storm of things that was accumulating. It's like that toxic load bucket that perhaps you've heard about that's been accumulating. And those are normally the people that they are already doing a lot of right things. They are already very conscious about the things that they're buying. They're buying quality produce, organic. They're mindful about things that they're putting on their skin. They're mindful about things that they're bringing into their house. They're really working on good habits, and they're still dealing with a lot of different either digestive issues or seasonal allergies or this and that, and just can't break through. And so they're more complex cases, and it can feel very unfair. And in all honesty, that's a little bit of my journey. And in my case, there was also mold exposure that I will make a whole separate video on, the whole story, how that happened and how that affected me. But there are other things that we don't really talk about in conventional medicine. There is not enough awareness about different subjects. And really for me, because I needed those answers and because I really was not able to find them, I decided that I will lean on one of my strengths, which is love of learning, and I will learn as much as I can. And I kept learning, and I still keep learning about all the different subjects relating to health. And that's what I'm planning to be sharing on this YouTube account, because I believe that body literacy and just understanding what our body needs and how it functions can make a big difference. And so my plan in the future videos is to I'll share with you my mold journey and what I did, what helped on my mold illness recovery journey too. We'll talk about gut health, gut microbiome, stomach acid, bile, gallbladder, liver, mitochondria, methylation, histamine, so many things that we can address and that can give you clues about what you might need and how you might tweak things. Because there is a lot of general information that in the end, everything needs to be personalized. Because you are your own environment, your body is, with, every microbiome is different. And the circumstances, beginning from your birth and even genetic makeup, which happens before your birth, everything comes by into who you are and why you're dealing with what you're dealing. And genetics is another thing that I've tested and I've been looking into, just trying to connect the dots. And really, I think that's what this account is all about. This account is about connecting the dots, finding your own truth, finding your own solutions, and becoming steward and the champion of your own health. Reconnecting with your body, knowing exactly what your body needs, because you and your body, you're a team and we have to work together. I know that sometimes I felt like my own body was sabotaging me against my best efforts, but it was not true. I've learned that there is so much intelligence in our body, and we're just tapping into that knowledge. We're just starting to get more research into understanding things like gut microbiome, understanding mitochondrial dysfunction, and how it's all connected. And so I think it will be a fun journey. I look forward to sharing what I know. I'm sharing my own truth, my own knowledge. There are a lot of experts on social media. There are a lot of practitioners, people with years of experience and education. But in the end, I believe that there is value in our own truth, in our own experience. And I believe that it can all be combined for the benefit of all. So stick around. I hope you enjoy what I have to say. I hope you will find value in this. And I'll see you soon.